So I'm going to use quite a few methods with these. The first method I'm going to be using is with the chameleon powders. You know how much I love chameleon powders. So the first one I'm going to do is a few little mint green ones. And I'm going to try and do 4 of each. And with the chameleon powders, I actually prefer to use one of these little sponge brushes that are designed for makeup. Because I always think that you get much nicer effect and it sticks to the actual mould a lot better. And that's easy to put in there and make sure that you've got all them covered. I'm going to do 2 of this mint green, or whatever colour it is. Yeah, mint green. Make sure I'm getting everywhere covered, each one of them. So they're them done. And the other 2 here, I'm going to use the blue chameleon powders. And I will link everything that I use in the description below. So please don't worry if you're not sure where to get it from. I'll link everything. And these, I love the Let's Resin colours and their pigments and their chameleon powders and flakes. They are brilliant. The colours are the best I've ever used. There you go. Let's Resin. Nice little plug for you. So I've got those 2 on there. Just tap out any excess and let's clear that up. And now I'm going to use some chameleon flakes as well. Now, if you only have a little bit left of chameleon flakes in your bottom of the jar, don't throw them away. I chuck all my, when I get down to the bottom, into one colour. I don't know if you saw my table I made out of eggshells. And I love the colours that it gives. So I'm going to use that colour there. And now with chameleon flakes, I like to use a brush and burnish that down well with the brush because that always will give you a better result. And you do get different results by using either chameleon flakes or chameleon powders. Brush them over and then give it a good burnish as well to ensure that you've got that lovely shiny finish when you finish casting. And then we'll use a different colour as well. Yeah, I definitely think we'll go for this fuchsia. And these last a long, long time. And they go a long, long way. A big thank you to everyone that got me a coffee last month. I really do appreciate it. I don't know what's going on with YouTube at the moment. The views are great. The money's terrible. So I'm only just keeping my head above the water. And I'm trying at the moment to save for a new pressure pot. Because my pressure pot died. Sprung a leak. And I just couldn't get it repaired. So it couldn't keep any pressure. And I'm also saving for a router as well. A mini router to do some additional work that I can use both with resin and on my channel. So thank you, everybody. So those ones are done. Love, 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 love it. Let's clean this mould out again because I want to try and avoid contamination. Well, that will be fine like that because I'm going to do alcohol inks in that one. And this one, I'm going to do a mixture of thermochroic powder, which is the powders that change colour when they get warm. And I'm also going to do a mixture of some glittery bits as well. But I'll need to do those when I've mixed up my resin. Now, this really large bear, I think, would make a wonderful pocket hug and to give to people. So I'm going to be using chameleon flakes on this one. And I'm going to make them blue because I think they'll look nice. And I'll show you how I finish my pocket hugs and how I set them up ready to go out to people or to be sold. Look how beautiful that is and how shiny. And make sure you give this a good burnish to get that lovely shine. And I'll tell you what, members, and this is open for any of the members of my channel, if this comes out really well and we like it, then I will send it to one of my members randomly who leaves a comment in this video. And I'll send it to you free as a pocket hug. And if you'd like to become a member of my channel, then the link for that is in the description below. There are lots of members only videos. And also there is a brilliant members group that I'm sure my members will tell you in the comments below how great it is. Get a lot from being membership, I'm sure. So now I'm going to mix up my resin and we can start doing these ones. I've got my resin mixed up now and all I need to do is firstly pour some in my bear molds. Now I don't want to pour it right to the very top because I need to leave some space in there for the alcohol ink to go in. So that'll be enough for the alcohol inks. And I'm also going to pour some in here because these 3 I'm going to do slightly differently. Then when you're using chameleon flakes and chameleon powders, it's always important to have not clear resin for it. And I like to use a white mica powder in the back of mine, but you can use the colours that you've used, or you can stick like I do to one particular colour. And I have a bit of white mica powder in there because I like the glimmer and shimmer that gives me. So I'll give that a good mix in. But also I put in some of the white opaque pigment by Let's Resin as well. You don't need too much, just a little bit. And what that'll do is that'll make your mica powder go further, but also it gives it a more of a solid finish to it. So let's pour those. There we go. So we can move those out of the way now because we're not going to be doing anything else with those until they're cured up. So the next ones, I'm going to pour some resin out so it's not sitting in my pot, because you're less likely to get a flash cure if you pour it out into some smaller pots. As we're going to be using the smaller pots anyway, then we might as well do that. And if you want to know where I get all these jugs and these small pots from, that's in my kit. Now, my kit does keep going out of stock, unfortunately, so you need to check up on it. The link's in the description for that. And that's because it's such a great value kit. Unfortunately, it is only available at the moment in the UK and the USA. But we are looking at whether we can get it in other countries as well. So these ones, what I'm going to do first is drop my alcohol inks into them. I don't want too much. Now, alcohol inks do evaporate, so if your alcohol inks are quite old, then you may find that the alcohol has evaporated off. I have had some success with using 99% alcohol and getting them back, but if not, then maybe think about changing them. Now, the best alcohol inks, without a doubt, are the Let's Resin ones. As far as I'm concerned, they are far more colour fast than any of the other alcohol inks that I've had out there. And these ones, we're going to add the white sinker directly to the top of them. I love that one. It does all that moving around. It's amazing. But for these ones, I'm going to put my white sinker into this amount of resin here and give that a mix in so it's completely mixed up. And then before I do anything with these, what I'm also going to do is bung in a little bit of these chameleon flakes in the resin first and give that a bit of a stir around so it's equally distributed. Not too much, I don't want too much in there. And I'm going to use a different colour chameleon flake for each one. And now I'm going to pop my alcohol inks over the top of those chameleon flakes. And then on top of that, I'm now going to drizzle some of my alcohol ink that I've mixed in with some resin. And then I'm going to add a little bit more resin over the top of that to lightly fill them up where I've put the white. And that's why I didn't want to fill those up completely. And now we're going to leave those for about 20 minutes before we do anything else with them. Now it's time for these thermochromic powders. I absolutely blimmin' love these. I made some pens. They were, I'm so pleased with how the pens came out. But you do need quite a bit of these, because if not, what you're not going to get is you're not going to get the colour change. So you need to add quite a bit to whatever is your planning on making. And again, these do go quite a long way. And also make sure you stir them in really, really well. So they're all mixed in now, and I can start pouring these in. Now the first row I'm going to do so they're just one solid colour. Oh, you do need to have a steady hand for this. Now with this, I'm just making sure that I've got everything where I want it and there's no gaps. We will go all over this with a long neck lighter, never a torch on silicone moulds, remember. Okay, so we've got 3 of each of those, and now what I'm going to be doing is using a little bit of each of these colours in these bears for the last row, and then just giving it a little bit of a twisty whirl round in there. Oh look, I've over poured on that one. There's a surprise. Let's move that off. So that's fine for those. These last 3 rows, I'm going to use some ultra fine glitter to make some sparkly ones. And using the ultra fine glitter, it's less likely to sink or fall right the way down to the bottom and stay spread out. And you know me, I can't resist a bit of sparkle. And these are sparkling lovely already. So I'm just pouring these in. We can see the bubbles have started to come up to the top of the other ones. We've left them a little while, so there shouldn't be any bubbles in there now. It's always good to leave it about 5 or 10 minutes before you burst the bubbles off your items. Oh, these bears are going to look so cute and so sparkly. So these ones are now ready for me to go over, pop any bubbles that have come up with my long neck lighter. Remember, look at that, it's changing the colours of these already because of these are the colour changing ones. Yay! But don't forget, don't go over your ones that have got alcohol ink in them, because alcohol is, after all, flammable. We don't want to be setting our studios alight or burning our moulds or causing any problems. And now it's time to give these a bit of a stir. I'm using the stirring stick that comes in my kit as well. I'm going all the way down and I'm gonna give them a bit of a stir. I'm stirring all of them. I'm not gonna over stir them because I do have a tendency to do that. And now we leave all those to cure up and we can have a look at them tomorrow, and then I'm gonna show you the sorts of things that I'm gonna make out of them. I can't wait. But these have all finished and I can't wait to undo them, to have a look at them. Some of them I did do a little bit of over pouring on, but they'll be fine. So cool, these little bears. And this is the mixture of chameleon powders and chameleon flakes. Look at the colours of those. I love those chameleon flakes. And there was a little bit of over pour on there, but actually only a really thin bit, so I can pull them off. We can turn them into something now. You'll be surprised because it's not actually, for a change, going to be just earrings. Here we are. Oh, these little cute bears are so cute. And these are the ones with the thermochromic powders, again by Let's Resin. And they've come out really cute. Love this little mould. Using a microfine glitter does mean that it's not going to sink down and it's going to stay nicely positioned throughout. Now, these are my alcohol ink ones. Now, I'm not the master of this alcohol ink technique by Miriam's Nature. I mean, she developed this probably about 6 or 7 years ago. But one of my members, Claire Holloway, is just amazing. The stuff that she is making with this is the best I've ever seen anyone make in my life. And if you want to know how she does it or how sorts of things she makes, then become a member, because she's been so supportive with my members on how to improve their technique. I mean, these aren't bad at all, but I'm nowhere near as good. And they're going to make some really cute things, and I've got something planned for those. I quite like those. One of my better attempts. And here's me big boy. Oh, look how good he is. So for the bears, the larger bears, what I'm going to do is turn these into bear hugs. It's really easy to do. I've cut out a bear shape on my Cricut and I'm going to put the bears in the middle there. And all I'm going to use for this is glue dots. I find these brilliant, so useful, and they're really quite strong as well. But the resin will come off them, and as a result, what you'll find is people can take them on and off if they wish. And I'll link these in the description below. So I'll just pop that on there like that, or somewhere on there. And if you want to sell these sell really well. You can knock a lot of these up with your leftover resins, to be honest. You can have them hanging up on your stall in all different colours. People like them. These are the things that people pick up that you can do for quite cheap, but still make a profit on them. It brings them to the stall, and then while they're there, you can get talking to them about something else, and they may buy something else. So we don't always want to have just everything that's so expensive, do we, on our stall? So a little bit of ribbon on there, like that, and you can just hang them up. That's them all finished, and they look really cute, and they'll hang up really well if you've got a stall and you want to hang them up like that. Don't forget, any of my members that want one of these, then leave a comment below. If there's more than the 7 people that want one, then I'll just pull out the names out of a hat and I'll let you know who's got one, and I'll send it to you in the post. Little extra gift for my lovely members. So let's get to these smaller bears. Now these larger ones, I'm going to make something different out of these. These are the thicker bears. Thicker bears. Thicker bears. Don't go lost there. John, don't leave that in when you're editing, please. So what I'm going to do with these is mix them up a little bit. And now I'm going to take my Dremel. And if you haven't got a Dremel, you can do this with a hand drill. It's just going to take you a little bit longer. And I'm going to drill through their heads. Poor bears. So what I'm going to do is turn these into a necklace. And I've got some of the necklace cord here. And it's like a fishing wire, I would say, more than anything. A nylon cord, but it's very strong. I've got a length that I want. I'll rewind this up, because if not, it will all come unwangled in my jewellery kit. And then it will make a right mess. And I won't be able to sort myself out again. So double check that I've got the right length that I want. Yeah, that's fine. And now what I'm going to do is, before I start, I'm going to put one of these little crimp balls on the end. I'm going to use one of these little crimp bails here, which is that, and you thread your cord through the bottom, and then I'm going to put a little crimp ball on it, like that, and crimp that, flatten it on the cord. You can buy proper crimpers for this. I haven't got any. All I use is my jewellery pliers. You see that little ball on there? All I do is crimp that on, and then that's on there really nice and secure. And what this does is it just gives me that extra bit of security, because I will then tie a little knot in it. So it incorporates that crimp ball like that. That should then not come out of there, and that is on there permanently. Before I seal that one off, what I'll do is I'll trim that down like that, and I'll get one of my long neck lighters, quickly melt that end, and that will give it even more security. Then I can pull that into its little cup, close that up like that, and now I've got a really secure end that I can put my other bits and pieces on to ensure that that becomes a great necklace. And now what I'm going to do is thread my bears on, and in between each bear, and then thread those on. So I can put that on like that, cord through the bear, and all this stuff is next to nothing, but it just finishes off nicely what you're making. And put another one on the bear. Keep doing this until you get right to the end and you've used up all your bears. So that's the bear necklace finished. I put 2 beads in between each one. It needed it to space it better. And the next thing I'm going to make are some earrings using these little bears. I think they are so cool. And you can turn them into studs or hanging ones. Now I'm going to turn some of them into studs. So I'll do those ones into studs. These are the colour changing ones, and they will change colour much easier if you've got them nearer flesh and your ears get quite warm. And studs are really easy to make. You just need to get some of these little stud things, and they're dirt cheap. They come with the backs as well, which is great. I will list them again for ease of use in the description. You can also get the ones where you clip on as well. Now, I don't have any, unfortunately, at the moment, but I do make clip-on earrings too. Now, the best way I know to stick these to your resin is by using 5-minute epoxy. It cures up completely clear, and also it sticks to resin really, really well. You don't need to scratch up the surface, and it's really quick as well. Mixes ever so easy. Like that, equal part. I use it for so many different things. Now all I'm going to do is pick my tip up like this, that's going to go through the ear, and make sure that is very well coated in resin, and put that where I want it to be. And I want it to be there in the head, so it kind of drops down a little bit. But if you want it in the middle of the back, you could also have it in the middle of the back. And I make sure it's coated both the top and the bottom as well, because then that will create a brilliant seal. As you can see, I'm kind of scooping it up so it's very well covered on the top and the bottom before I pop it on the bear. There we go. I'm happy with those. We can just let those cure up. And then the ones where I've drilled a hole in the head, then I'm using these little screw things. And again, I dip them in my resin first before I put them in the hole that I've made. Screw them in, because that way, once it's cured, it will be solid in there. So for the bear earrings, I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm adding a charm to them. Look at the little charms. They're so easy to get hold of. You get lots of different ones in a bag, and they finish things off really well. All you need to do is add additional jump rings. So I've got 3 jump rings here that I've put together. The bottom one of the 3 I will put on the bear. Now these are all lovely and solid. And then on the top one, on the last jump ring I'm going to put on, I'll quickly thread my charm through like that, and use my earring back. Put that on there, and then attach that to the bear as well. Close that up nice and tight, and then you've got an earring with a little charm on it. Just gives it that little finishing touch. So finish the last one off, then I'll show you how they've all come out. So they're all finished now. We've done quite a lot with those bear molds, and we really have made them pretty, I think. These have come out brilliantly with the stud backs on, and where I've been handling them, they've got warm and they've changed colour. Look at that. Very pretty. I do like the multicoloured ones. We got the bear hugs. We've also got the earrings and the necklace, which I think is so pretty. And you could put this on wire. You could fill it right up. You could just put 2 on. But I do think that's pretty. I also think the earrings are really pretty, especially with the little charm on as well. I mean, I think I look pretty, even though I've got my beard and I haven't done anything with my hair today. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this project. I've really enjoyed this project. I love looking at things and thinking, what can I do that's slightly different that other people haven't done? And then if you go into a craft fair, they may have hundreds of bears out there and their key rings and things, and yours are going to stand out because yours are going to be different. Boo that like button, hit that subscribe button, and check out the video that I've got coming up next. I'm sure you're going to like that one. Everything I've listed in the description below that I've used today. But most of all, enjoy your resin. Take care. Bye. Oh dear, what am I going to do now? I might go out in these.